Okay, today is March 2nd, 2023. I just want to talk a little bit about today and where I screwed up and where I did okay. So, last night we had this break on the daily here. You can see we had the 9:23 break in the overnight session. It looked like it was going to sell the previous day. We had a rally into the close, and then it tested one of our levels after a small gap down in the Globex session, and then it basically traded right down to about 865, 870, 850, something like that. And then after the London session, it had a little bit more of a dip, but it reclaimed. So we're still in a downtrend overall. We haven't broken that. So that's kind of what I'll be watching, is to see if we break this small downtrend line and clear over 1290, about 12100, and then that could push us back up into this range, which I'll be watching for. So, but it can also sell versus these highs. So this 1260 will kind of be key in the Globex session, and tomorrow to kind of 1260, 1290 in there. Okay, so let's go to the main chart. Let's start with the overnight session. So yeah, we had that 925 test, came down and made a higher low, and then rallied into the close. We had some earnings, I think CRM, and we opened up this session with a small gap down. It filled that gap, and it tested this 990 level, which was on there. You guys saw it from yesterday. And basically it broke this trend. We kind of had a small trend line here like this. Yeah, probably more like this. It's a better example. And then it broke the session VWAP, and then it was just straight sell. So something to keep in mind. So I don't like to actually short the trend breaks. I'd rather short something where my risk is really low, right? So you can short it. Let's turn that off. Turn this down. So you could do something like this, right? Risk 10 points for, 120, right? Because we're basically anticipating that this level is going to break. So you don't want to sell. Like normally I take profit level to level, but in kind of this kind of scenario, I'm looking for the break, right? Maybe I'll take some profits into this, but I'll be trying to add back some on any pops. But for the most part, I will just be holding and looking for the full move. Okay, so we had the sell down and then some consolidation, and then it gave us a chance for a reshort, basically, right? From this recent From this recent swing high to here, right near the 786 retracement, 681 retracement, and then it would have got you another 50 or so points back down into the level. On the London Open, we were right at the 865 support, broke, and then reclaimed, right? So in this scenario here, it's made a higher high over here. So then it comes down and it makes the higher low and confirms, and then breaks up higher again. And you're likely to see price trade higher, right? So then the same thing needs to happen in like a bigger time frame. Is, right now it's pretty much a flat to that level. Right before, a couple hours before the open, sold back down into 840s, and we held the lows, right? So when market opens, let's go to the regular session. Market opens and it's reclaiming the 865 in the AM. So that's kind of your key to get long in there. And then ideally, if you're looking for shorts, it's up higher into 925 or 940, right? It might even want to come up and fill the full gap to 965 or so, and then there's easy risk versus that previous high. But basically you can see in here, just from the RTH session, pretty low risk short. I did short 925 a couple times, and that yielded nice points, but every time it failed to basically roll over, right? And I think it actually held RTH VWAP all day. Maybe it broke briefly. Oh yeah, it did. It broke briefly a couple times, but it never ever really had a lot of closes underneath. So let's look at the 1 minute, right? So this first short here, you could short into that, take a little profits, and then this is kind of the confirmation move, right? You're making the lower high, and then this makes the lower low, lower high, and then it should have sold down to here. But buyers stepped up, they made the higher low, and then they cleared this 902, and then it was kind of tough action in here, really slow. Everyone was obviously getting short into 925, 940, risking versus this, and then eventually the buyers just kind of won out, right? So if you look at, like, say a 3, same thing, higher low. Let me put the highlight. So this is the low of the day, higher low, 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 right? And then these, it's kind of making like a flat top, right? So basically shorts are using this to cover as trend walks up. You know, they're already nicely in profit after, you know, even from the other day, you're up a couple hundred points. And then I think there was a news speaker, and I think this would have happened anyways, regardless of the speaker, but that was kind of the catalyst that pushed it over the edge, right? You have this little trend break here. And so what I was actually expecting is, I was kind of expecting this, and I did call it in a chat, but I was expecting this and then all the way back down. Basically, I was thinking we'd come down, we'd trade 925, 940-ish again, consolidate, try push higher maybe, and then fail. But the fact that it didn't come all the way back down, even to actual price, is fairly bullish, right? And then so once it broke this 980, the squeeze was on, and we had reactions at most of the levels, right? Like this one, there's no reaction. It should have actually been 980, I think, and which I did have a couple of days ago. I didn't change it overnight. So if it trades up this quickly to this level, I would not be too interested in shorting it. I'd wait for the actual rollover to short it. I could try the long on the breakout, and then same thing, right? It tried to roll over a couple times with the yes, but it never did. And sellers were getting active up here, but still no real big follow through moves. And we just basically grinded higher, right? So pretty bullish if you look from like a higher time frame, right? So we cleared the gap. So anyone short into this and overnight underwater, hitting their break even stops, they're closing early. And then we clear these highs here and getting past these supports. So you start getting a little bit more clears, right? So overall, still a downtrend. And in Globex tonight, I'll be watching for the sell. It can give all this move back up, right? The key is, I think, to retest 925 and trade above it, or at the very least, maybe 865. I'd still like to see lower trade before a decent rally, but we don't always get what we want, right? So we have a downtrend line here, kind of to watch for in the RTH session, and we'll have to see where we open. But yeah, that was basically what happened today. Is shorts eventually just got squeezed. They got a little overzealous, myself included, right? Basically, once this happened, I think you should have been looking for longs or scalping short, right? You know, you're not getting the full range of movement, so you just need to kind of take profits, right? Because even if you shorted 925, you still got 40 points a couple times, which is plenty. And then this squeeze, kind of same thing, right? Like after the squeeze, it puts in the lower high, lower low, but it's back to like about 940, which would be considered support. And then it comes and makes the higher high, higher low, and then here after they've seen the higher high, the higher low they're risking versus this. Something like, kind of like this. Risking versus this low, right? Plus a few points filling in there, and then they're targeting at least here, maybe the level above, right? And then same thing happened. Basically just flagging, makes the higher low, clears that, sends you up higher, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher low, higher low, breaks out, trying to short versus, sells down, fails to go anywhere. Shorts get squeezed, higher high, higher low, retesting our level, and then basically a squeeze into the end of the day, right? As no one wants to be too overzealous overnight. So, anyways, let's go back to the monthly here. Let's clear these drawings. So far indecision on the month, right? No one's super in control here. Weekly. I won't be surprised if this is how it closes tomorrow, something like this. We'll have to see. Still would like to see it trade lower tomorrow, but I'm not sure. And then, yeah, I think key for uptrend is to break these to make a higher high, and maybe we get some momentum on a Friday. Nice trend day, perhaps. If it fails, I think if it fails to get over 1260, we're going to sell back down at least to 925. Maybe lower, but we'll see. Okay, I think that's it for me. Have a good night.